great with what people want. And we got to be real about it. So in Baltimore, my school is a place in Baltimore called Hip Hop Chicken, and students love the Hip Hop Chicken. I needed to get 98% of the free and reduced lunch applications back. I said, look, we hit 98%, Hip Hop Chicken for everybody. Those applications. So you got to know, who you're serving and be real about it. That's love. That's love. Everybody loves to eat. Okay, so those are the basic things in general that's needed to turn around a school. And you can hear it really starts with commitment. It starts with, a drive and love and preparation. And then every day is about marketing that school and being about it. So this time I'd really love to answer some questions from you just about the process and, what people do to turn around schools and how important that is. So any questions? Alan?
One question I had with regard to parent involvement.
Yes.
Were you successful in parent involvement, or how were you able to describe or put together a successful model around parent involvement?
Yes, the first thing is to make sure that the parents know that they are important. Okay, and so, and a parent is a guardian. And so, really understanding that in some situations it's a foster parent, it may be a group home leader, it's whoever is responsible for that child, maybe an older sister, an older brother, and really giving them respect. That when you bring me an issue, I am going to take it seriously, and I'm going to look into it. And then also having meetings with food, and inviting people in, and inviting people into many things like creating the budget. Back in the day, the principal will create the budget, and it's the principal's budget. Today, a good principal involves all of the stakeholders in creating that budget. You meet and you say, what's important? Okay, these are the things that are important to you, that's where we're going to put the money. But also, you have to put money into academics. So the school that I was at had a failing football team, had a failing sports program also. And as the school rises, all boats rise. So we went from a football team that was 3-9 to a team that was 9-3. That's because everything rises when the school rises. And so when you first get there, people say, I want money to go into sports. Well, we also have to put it in academics, but it's a negotiated process. Any other questions? Yes, Dr. Blake, I'm sorry.
A lot of the programs you initiated, did you get any outside grants, funds, foundations?
Yes, I find that people love to support a winner. And so if the school is on its way to becoming a winner, people will invest. What they don't want to invest in is a disorder. And so I found that, at both schools that I was at, all of the things that I built were paid for with outside money, not the school system's money. And so in one case, the first school, which was a real prominent school, I actually started a $15 million capital campaign because all of the graduates from this school's been around since 1882, and all the graduates are engineers and doctors. At the second school, I got churches that shut down to give me their pews from the church for the courtroom. We got the local municipal bank to donate all the technology for the bank. We created a new dance studio because we had the #1 dance team, and that was all paid for by outsiders. But people want to invest in a vision, movement. When they see movement, it's safe to invest. And then you have to give people what you say you're going to give them. So if people are investing money, they want to trust that you have, fiduciary responsibility and you have fidelity and all those types of things, and you're going to do what you said you're going to do. So if you're going to build something, have a ribbon cutting. Reginald Lewis's wife, who's a billionaire, was invited to everything that we did at the school. Although she lived in New York, she flew into Baltimore and came to everything. And was loving life because the school that was named after her husband was moving. Okay? So, other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I know sometimes the staff or teachers are leery of new leaders coming in.
Yes.
How did you get the buy-in and support of the teachers?
Well, first of all, again, being respectful of it. I respect educators as educators. I assume that teachers really want to teach. And so, a lot of teachers don't teach because they're micromanaged. You know what I mean? So, you have to have a meeting of the minds and just kind of assess where they are. You can assess pretty easily because there's all types of benchmark scores and standardized scores, and you can look at their grade reporting book. so you can easily kind of assess where they are. But then you can develop an individualized professional plan for them. And the one thing that teachers want to know that you have their back. You know what I mean? And for me, as the principal, I'm as good as my teachers are. And so I have their back, you know, but I also expect them to teach. And so if they don't have the students back by teaching them, then we're probably not going to be on the same page. Yes, sir.
Do you have certain bullets that you are looking at when you decide that a school is a failing school?
No, those are determined by the state. And so the school that I took over was called a persistently dangerous school. And that's a state designation. Again, the culture there is a lot different than here. You know what I mean?
Baltimore?
Yeah. Yeah, Baltimore's the real deal. You know? And so it was a designation by the state. And they were about to be taken over by the state. And so the CEO said, Wilson, get in there and fix it. You know what I mean? And so those are state designations. But then you can look at some things like graduation rates, overage, undercredited, attendance, suspensions, and you can look at it and say, this is a failing school. So the community knows what's working and what's not. Yes, sir.
Sunday, you out here work vacation?
No, we live here. We moved here from Baltimore. It's a tough place to find some work, I can tell you that. So I've been unemployed actually for a while, and so I'm still trying to get the credentials in place to gain employment.
Didn't you up at Lincoln?
Pardon me?
Didn't you up at Lincoln?
That's what I'm saying. Schools like
That would be an honor. That would really be an honor. Yeah. Yes,
What
ma'am.
percentage of kids went to, graduated and went to college?
From both schools,
Both
okay, the first school, it was 98% of the students went to college. The second school, when I took it over, there was like 26% who were going, and they were going to the community college. And so what I did was I formulated relationships with the four-year colleges, because for the community college, anyone can get in. Because you don't have to take the SAT, you just apply, you can get in. But with four-year college, you have to apply and then earn your way in. And so I needed to work out some deals with the four-year colleges where they would give me a couple of slots. And I would say my students really aren't prepared in the first couple of classes, but by that third class, I'm going to have a lot of students who are prepared. So there were people who are rooting, and these are shareholders, the colleges are shareholders. They want students to do well. And so they were able to give me a couple of slots for my students. And once you have students, if you have a college board and you're posting on that board, these students are going to college, the freshmen see that.
Yes, yeah.
They're like, wow, I can go to college. And so with that, on the front end of turning it around, you got to do a lot of negotiating.
How much rest did you get? All of that work, how much rest did you get?
It's a tireless, it's an endless and tireless job. Principals are thinking about the work all the time. And every interaction is about the school. So if I'm in the market, I'm marketing the school. If I'm at church, I'm talking about the school.
Right.
Because one, you don't know who can be an owner. You don't know who might be saying negative things about your school, so you want them to stop.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So you have to be about it all the time. And then when people see you, they should say, that's the principal. You know what I mean? And that's what that leader role is, in taking it seriously and really loving what you're doing.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
I applaud you.
Anything else? Please?
In that first year when you're assessing data
Yes.
and observing the classrooms and all that, how do you deal with impatience? Because people are not going to see a lot of change at the beginning of the curve.
Yes.
How do you keep people on board and engaged when you're not seeing changes yet?
Yeah, the first thing actually is to have everyone recognize the data as it is and be real honest about it. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have to pull together those reports to paint the picture. And then you have to tell them if it's really bad that there's still hope. And in schools, people need hope. That's what they really need. They need hope. And they need to hear that the leader is hopeful. You know what I mean? And then you have to put the systems in place to systematically move the school. There's like no guessing about it. And there's tons of books. There's, if you have teachers who are not skillful, there's a book, The Skillful Teacher. And so one of the things, everyone's going to get this book. When we have our meetings, we all want to talk about chapter 1, and then chapter 2, and then chapter 3. And then there's other books, how do you lead for instructional improvement? There's a million great books out there. But getting people to read the books, and the leaders should read these books. You know what I mean? But the leaders should also have common sense, And, you know, gut sense, and should really be genuinely dedicated to the school. Here's another one. Let's see, what is this? Content area conversations. Good leadership comes down to tough conversations about things that are uncomfortable. How to create a culture of achievement. You know, imagine if everyone in the school read this. You know what I mean? And then you have to have celebrations. A lot of failing schools don't have assemblies. You know, how do you prepare for college if you don't have assemblies? That's where you learn to sit and listen. That's when you learn that it's not about me, it's about the performer on stage. You know, so those types of things. And then a lot of schools don't have an honor roll. They might have honor roll and then they just kind of throw the certificate at the kid. No, have an assembly, have the child come up, have everyone clap them up, you know, for what they're doing, and then say to the others, hey, I want to clap for you next time. You know, but creating that culture of excellence.
I have a two-part question. What can San Diego Greater Chapter Big do to assist you, if anything? And are you coming back to give us an update?
Yes, well, pray for me.
That's my last name.
Yeah, okay, good.
I
Good.
got you.
Yeah, just know that there are some really great educators here on the sideline who want to get in the game. You know, who are just passionate about the community, passionate about students, and who are prepared to serve. You know what I mean? We just have to get through the bureaucracy sometimes, you know, to be able to serve. But just if you could pray and just say, you know, if anyone says Barney Wilson, just say, that's a good guy. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Yes, did you change your policies in regards to suspension, or did you just administer them differently to bring the numbers down?
No, well, there's a program called Restorative Justice, and really it's what we do anyways, you know, and so it's easy to suspend because you get the child out of the building and they're gone, you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
It's tougher to sit them in your conference room with the person that they punched and have them talk it out and set rules. Like in my conference room, there is no yelling. There will be no yelling. I'm going to conduct the meeting. When I point to you, you can talk. When I point to you, you can talk. You're not going to talk to each other, talk to me. And then once they say what they have to say, and they hear each other's side, it always ends with shaking hands. If you can shake hands, I don't have to suspend you. If you can't shake hands, you're going to get suspended. Make your choice. And so, and then, you know, it's just again that voice, you know what I mean? And having people sit down and be accountable for what they're doing, you know? But that takes a lot of time. And so it's, for that first year, I spent a lot of time in the conference room, you know? But slowly, when people realize, sometimes people will fight because they want to get suspended. You know what I mean? And so when they know that you're not going to be suspended, you might as well stop fighting. You know? Anyone else?
Should write a book.
Thank you. Really? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I know myself in Melbourne, we volunteer at middle school with some other members. I guess my question is, how did you get people to volunteer? And how were they part of your making changes?
Right. I think one, just being open to volunteers and being respectful of them. You know what I mean? If you delegate something to them or they say they want to do it, let them do it. You know what I mean? Volunteers bring resources and a lot of patience. You know what I mean? And so one, just creating an environment where things are moving and a loving environment, and then having respect for the volunteers. And then just really listening to what they want to do, and then connecting them in with the people who can get it done also within the school.
Right.
So really kind of networking them in, and then saying as a leader, I respect, what's your name?
Erica.
I respect Miss Erica. She's a volunteer, you know what I mean? So I'm bringing you in the right way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I had been listening to you and I was writing notes, and one thing that we started volunteering, but we didn't have a meet and greet with the teachers of those
Right,
students.
right, you have to be
So
brought in.
I'm thinking we need to connect with,
Yes.
have a cup of coffee and chat for a second.
Right. And you're gonna see some things that I don't see. You know, so you can be my eyes and ears, and then, you know, not that you're spying.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm aware.
That you're
certainly.
aware, right,
Yeah.
right. Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry.
education